On page 120 in our science book, we find that there are 3 more ways that they are telling us that we can identify minerals. We can use density, hardness, and special properties. Today we're going to talk about hardness. They have a hardness scale for you right in your book that lists 10 minerals from number 1, talc, being the softest, all the way down to the hardest right here. They're going to talk about a couple of tools on the side, but I'm going to show you a chart that has even more tools, how we can determine the hardness. I wish that we were all together, because if we were, I would send you to a station where you would find one of each of these minerals, and then you would use this chart and these tools to try to help identify them. Since we can't do that, I'm going to go ahead and give it away a little bit. So number 1, talc, is the softest. That is this one right here. I can scratch this one with my fingernail. It is a mineral, but it is very soft. The next one is gypsum. That's this white one right here. That is another one, very gritty, and I can also scratch that with my fingernail. That's what they make drywall out of. So baby powder and drywall, 2 on the bottom here. They have a 1 and a 2. A fingernail has a hardness of about 2.5. That's why I can use my fingernails to scratch both of those. My fingernail will not scratch the calcite. This one is calcite, and here is another one that's calcite, 2 different forms there. And it doesn't matter what I do, I cannot scratch those with my fingernail because it's just not tough enough. Moving right up, a copper penny has a hardness of about 3.5. When we get up to 4, we find fluorite. Fluorite is this nice green one right here, sometimes in purple. So if fluorite is a 4 and a penny is a 3.5, if I had both hands free, I could make a little scratch mark right there on that penny. Moving right along, apatite is 5, orthoclase is 6. As we went up to 5 and 6, we went right past the hardness of a knife blade or a plate glass. Glass can also be about 6, so 5.5 to 6 for glass. So when you get in this area, it's harder to scratch the glass. When you get up to 7, the quartz, this will scratch glass. So if you have an old jar at your house and you find a piece of quartz out in your driveway, which you very well might, because we often find them in the same stone quarries where we find the limestone that we like to use as driveway rock. So if you have a piece of this, you can scratch it on the edge of that glass. Don't do it on the house window like I did when I was a child. You will get in trouble. 8 is topaz. I don't have any of that because it is a little more expensive. My birthstone, but the real stuff is expensive. Number 9 is corundum, which is rubies and sapphires. So topaz and those other harder ones, you can only scratch those with the masonry drill bit. They're very hard. They will scratch the glass. You cannot scratch them with the nail. What is a masonry drill bit? It's not a regular drill bit for wood. Masonry means rock. So that's one that you would use to drill through concrete blocks or cement if you needed to do some work there. Here we are all the way up at the top with our diamond, number 10. Here it is. I will make sure that you get to see this next year in Mrs. Kill's class. I'll send it down so the 7th grade can see it. Can you see it kind of looks like there's a little speck of pepper or something in the middle of it there, or not the middle, the top right. This is an industrial diamond. It is not very good for making jewelry because it has some flaws in it, some imperfections. When it formed, something got in there, an inclusion. So it's great for cutting. So you can use them in tools, and they are very handy in a lot of industrial tools. But we can, I have a piece of glass laying here on my son's computer so that you can see it scratch there a little bit. It's harder to see on the table, but it does scratch. So my husband will give us some glass since he works in the glass shop, and that will be in your 7th grade classroom so that you can try your hand at writing your name on a piece of glass with that, because diamond is all the way up there. Okay, so the things that we talked about that are on the page there, in that couple of paragraphs, and up here in our chart are also on this paper, and this is your homework. So on the page that you're going to be doing, one part I think is a little bit hard to understand. It says the same scale is used today, this one that they thought of back in 1822, but it's not mathematically exact. Right here it says, for example, corundum, listed as number 9 on the scale, is very hard. A diamond, listed as number 10, is 4 times harder than corundum. We cannot say that quartz, a number 7 on the scale, is 4 times harder than feldspar, which is number 6. So what they're saying is this is the softest and this is the hardest, but it does make some jumps. So it's like soft, soft, soft. It doesn't say this is twice as hard, twice as hard, twice as hard, or 4 times as hard, 4 times as hard. It doesn't go like that. It does take some jumps. There's a lot of jumps because the diamond is 4 times harder than the corundum. But these two have a hardness that's pretty similar. So they're in order, but it's not real even mathematically. Okay, so go ahead and read through there and take a look at the chart here. One thing you will notice is they do mention number 6 as feldspar, and on some charts they call number 6 orthoclase. Very similar mineral there, so it might be called a different name, but that's not going to affect your answers. Okay, let me move my quartz here. Look at the other side of this. On the one that you are going to be doing your homework on, you have a photograph of this, and I added some things to give you some clues. Who was Frederick Mohs? That's right on the other side. You don't have to Google these. The answers are on that other side of this sheet, which is a different document for you. So just open that up, take a look at it. Will calcite scratch feldspar? So you have to think about what numbers they are. So you have to go up here and you have to find where calcite is. It's a 3. And then find where feldspar is. Feldspar is the same as orthoclase. It's a number 6. And ask yourself if they will scratch each other. They do use the same terminology. They do use the word feldspar in your book. So if you like that one in color, you can use that one instead. Next question, will fluorite scratch a penny? Why or why not? Don't forget to answer that part there that explains why or why not. If you don't do that, you won't get your extra points. So you have to go on. They are very similar here. Fluorite's a 4, copper penny's 3.5. So make some decisions there. 2 questions here. What's the softest mineral? What is the hardest mineral? And will apatite scratch glass? You don't actually have to do it yourself to know. You just have to find apatite. Up here, apatite is a 5, glass is a 5.5, could be up to a 6, and make some decisions and turn that in.